Good morning, everyone. My name is Sakshi, and today we have Shubhan Balvally ji, author of novel Arihant Revenge per Excellence. And today we are going to talk about his book and about him. So, welcome, sir.
Hi,
Hi, sir.
thank you.
Sir, can you give a brief introduction about yourself? So,
I started my career when I was about 19 years old as an assistant director and an assistant editor
okay.
for a feature film, for a Hindi feature film called Khule Aam.
Yes.
So that's how I started my career. I was in the Hindi film industry, I mean, now called Bollywood, of course, for
Yes.
2 years precisely. And then I joined my uncle in his advertising business. And after that, I was full fledged into advertising. So I worked with various advertising agencies like Clarion, which is called Bates nowadays, and then RK Swami BBDO. I worked with Chaitra Leo Burnett, and I worked with Lentas in three different eras. And then I was a films head at Everest.
Yes.
And after that, I joined a agency which is actually an adapting agency and not a creative agency called Tag. And I was with them, and it was like a work from home kind of a scenario where I used to only attend dubbings and editing sessions. Otherwise, I
Yes.
used to operate from home. And I was with them for about 10 years before I retired, and then full fledged I started writing.
Okay. So, sir, my first question would be what inspired you to write this book?
See, right from my formative years, when I started seeing movies in theaters, I was extremely enticed by Hollywood science fiction films and
Yes.
extremely impressed with directors like Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, and more recently, Peter Jackson. And
Yes.
especially their science fiction movies and fantasy movies. Like
Yes.
Terminator is a science fiction movie. Lord of the Rings
Yes.
is a fantasy movie, whereas E.T. is again a science fiction movie. So I was extremely enticed by these fellows, and I always wanted to. And I don't know, I always had that feeling or that this talent of writing or creating stories was always there within me. But unfortunately, I realized it very late in life.
Yes, sir.
But as they say, there I durust hai. So I said, I guess that's fine. And
Definitely.
yeah, I
So
was,
coming from
yeah,
yes, sir.
sure, sure.
Please continue.
No, so the idea of Arihant came to me because I was extremely impressed by this one movie called The Terminator, which was written by James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd way back in, I think, 81 or something like that. So
Yes.
I always wanted to create a similar kind of a story, but not copy it. Copying is the
Not
most easiest thing, but I wanted to create an equally riveting storyline like that.
yes.
So one fine day, I hit upon this idea of Arihant, which is like a suspense science fiction film. If you see the very first part, Arihant's Revenge par excellence, is a
Yes.
suspense film. So first half of the story, you don't know that he's an android.
Yes, sir.
You think he's one of the security guys who is
Yes.
protecting the scientist. And towards the middle of the book, or you can say if it was a movie, sometime towards intermission, you come to know
Yes.
that he's an android which is created by this scientist Satish Ramanna for
Mhm.
the betterment of mankind and betterment for his own country. But because he gets killed, before
Yes.
he gets ambushed and he gets killed in the first part. But before he gets killed, he programs this android to kill all the bad guys who had perpetrated against him. And then he
Mhm.
dies. And then the rest
Yes.
of the story is about this android taking his revenge on those four or
Yes.
five bad guys who had
Mhm.
perpetrated the scientist's murder.
Yes,
So
sir.
I thought that was a quite, and I just at that point of time I was in Everest advertising, and I just sounded off to my friend and the national creative director. He was really kicked with that idea, and
Yes.
he said, "I think you should develop it." So that's how Arihan, the first part, came into being.
Yes. That's definitely a great story, sir. And coming from the film and advertising world, how different was it writing a full-fledged novel?
See, I think being in advertising and being in the feature film, and I'm a certified editor and a cinematographer. I learned that in theory and in practice. So I guess somewhere down the line, it really helped my storytelling. How to write. So if you read my books, they're like actually like screenplays.
Yes, sir.
You just take my book and just the only thing that is missing uh, is the camera angles, which normally
Yes.
they write in
Yes.
screenplays. So if you take my book and before each you just write the camera, it becomes a screenplay. So I guess
Yes.
my being in the world of advertising and feature films really helped me to write my book. And I always, as I said before, I always had this gift of storytelling, which I didn't realize until
Yes, sir.
Arihant happened.
Yes. And your story has very cinematic tone. Was it originally conceived as a film or a book?
See, every book can become a film. I mean, I'm saying fictional books. So obviously, it started for me. It started as a book, but I always saw it as a film because whenever I write something, I can actually see it in front of my eyes.
Yes.
Which is why it helps me to progress ahead.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, I would never have written. You can never write unless you can visualize. You have to
Yes.
visualize,
Yes, sir.
and then if it becomes a film, obviously it's great.
Yes.
And I always strive. I'm not about what you call is if I've written 15 books or 20 books, it doesn't matter for me. For me, it's
Yes.
the quantity. It's not the quantity; it's the quality. So
Yes, sir.
if you pick up any of my 6 books until now and you read them, it has a very different story, never written before.
Yes, sir. And sir, how excited will you be if your book will be converted into a film?
Obviously, I'll be extremely excited, and the audiences will have a real treat because in Arihant, there is a scenario where I've explained right at the start of the novel that because of global warming,
Yes.
all the regular seasons of the northern hemisphere have come to stay in the city of Mumbai. So so
Yes.
there is a scene where it is snowing in Juhu area,
Yes, sir.
where it is autumn on Nepean Sea Road. So visually also, if a director exactly follows my book, it is going to be a visual treat uh, for and a very different kind of a love story which is never written before, even in Hollywood. Like
Yes, sir.
apart from being a revenge saga,
Yes.
Arihant is also a love story between a machine and a female, where this
Yes, sir.
machine called Arihant, he is only transplanted with 3 basic emotions, which is
Yes.
happiness, anger, and surprise.
Yes, sir.
He is not installed with deeper emotions like love or remorse.
Yes, sir.
So whenever, but the girl falls in love with him, thinking that he's a human.
Yes, sir.
The machine also wants to reciprocate back, but it does not have that feeling called love. So what it happens is he becomes very happy. He tries to analyze it,
Yes.
but he can't analyze it. Why is he becoming happy on seeing this person? So it's a very
Yes.
different kind of a love story as well,
Yes.
apart from being a revenge saga.
Yes. And how do you balance storytelling with complex science fiction elements like androids, nanobots, and time travels?
See, this particular thing, I think you're talking about the 4th part, which is Arihant reprogrammed Mission Martyrs.
Yes.
If you read part one, part two, because part one is a personal revenge saga, whereas part two and part three become more expanded and include the government. So this
Yes.
guy, Suraj Singhania, who's actually a protege of scientist Ramanna, and
Yes.
he redevelops Arihant again in the 2nd part and the 3rd part, and the army gets involved. He tries to induct these androids into the. So 4th part, naturally, the 4th part had to be much bigger than that. So
Yes.
that's why I introduced that this guy expands into the production of drones and nanobots and swarm technology, which also helps the story uh, later on in the later parts when they go back in time and they always
Hmm.
leave a swarm of robo bees or something which monitor the situation there and relay the information back to the protagonist.
Yes.
So
And
it naturally came in. Actually, I didn't have to think much about it, because what would the protagonist Suraj Singhania do? He's already started a factory in Mumbai. He's got these mass production of androids happening, who have integrated with all the defense forces of India, and they are patrolling the borders, not just the borders, even the interior. So there's not even a single, if you see the end of part two and the end
Yes.
of part three, India's crime rate has dipped to zero because of
Yes,
these
sir.
androids, because they're present everywhere. So I had to build something much bigger than that. I had to go
Yes.
beyond that. And naturally, I started fiddling with the idea of different technologies like nanobots and swarm robotics. And I thought this would be very good if the protagonist starts manufacturing these, because, as I said, it also helps the narrative later on. So
Yes, sir.
that's how they came into the being.
Yes. Yes. And what makes the character Arihant and his army of androids and gynoids unique in Indian science fiction?
Arihant is unique because A, uh, he's just like any other android, but the thing is, he's only fixed with these three basic emotions, and so is his army.
Yes.
So that his scientist does not, on purpose, install him with deeper emotions, because that should not come in the way of his functions.
Yes,
Which is
sir.
protecting the country and protecting. So that's how. But yet, because of these three emotions within him, he is also a little bit human,
Yes, sir.
without being overtly human, like having love or remorse, things
Yes.
like that. So that, I thought, that kind of makes him unique. And his
Yes.
behavior, the way he's manufactured, is more like a human. He's not like the typical robot which we see in Hindi films. Like you go tap tap tap. No, he's not that. He's very fluid,
Yes.
like a
Yes.
human being. And
Yes, sir.
even in the very first part, Anjali, the girl, the heroine, she thinks he's a human being, and she falls for him.
Yes.
And then she is heartbroken because he's an android. He can't reciprocate those feelings.
Yes,
So
sir.
I thought it makes it. Aryan is very unique in that sense, and so are his colleagues.
Yes, sir. And sir, the sequel and the third installment are already done or underway. Can you give us a sneak peek without spoilers?
See, as I said, the first part is a revenge story. It's a personal revenge story, which is unique in its
Yes.
own way, never written before. In the second part, what happens is that this whole revolution, robot revolution, happens in a very big way, where
Yes.
Suraj Singhania and thankfully his college mates are now
Yes.
the prime minister and the chief minister of Maharashtra and the prime minister of India. So he forms
Yes.
a very strong relationship with them in order to
Yes.
take India to a much higher level. And in the end, as I said, and the second part has got a terrorist as the antagonist. Again, a very
Yes.
different kind of a terrorist, who's also who gets possessed by this doll that he keeps carrying.
Yes.
And every time his anger, the doll starts speaking. He starts speaking through the doll. So it's a very unique kind of a queer way of creating a villainous character. So that is the
Yes.
second part, and the third part is what happens is uh, uh, this whole robot production becomes very popular and very famous. So all the countries, they also need uh, this. They buy this from India, which thus making India even more richer and more prosperous. But then one incident happens where there are certain lobbies outside India who try to stall this in the third part. That's what it happens. They try to stall this Android production because
Yes.
they think that androids, they have no heart, so they kill mercilessly in a war, and they are very
Yes, sir.
brutal. So either make them human or stop your production. So Suraj
Yes.
Singhania is encountered with this problem. So what he does is, on an experimental basis, he tries to make Arihant human.
Yes, sir.
And what follows later is the other way around. Now in the third part, Aryan starts following Anjali. In the first part,
Yes.
Anjali was following Aryan. Now in the third part, Aryan starts following Anjali. But by the time Anjali and Suraj are engaged to each other, there are a lot of subplots. I won't go into the details of that.
Yes,
And
sir.
then how he's and he also falters in a war.
Yes, sir.
And finally, they take a call that this is not happening. He has to come back to his original form, and that's when he comes back to the original form, and they fight a war with this fictional army called Black Devils, which is basically
Yes,
ISI, Pakistan. And
yes, sir.
a character like Parvez Musharraf, so I've called him Farooq Musharraf. I didn't want to waste too much of time. And how they destroy, they go all the way to Skardu in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and Skardu Fort is the headquarters. And that climax has come out very beautifully,
Yes,
where
sir.
these volcanoes are erupting, and these huge fireballs are falling on
Yes,
the
sir.
battlefield as the battlefield is going on, and there are rivers of lava flowing, things like that. And also at that point of time, the antagonist has got a female scientist who used to be
Yes,
Suraj's colleague.
yes,
She
sir.
creates robots which can stitch themselves again even if they are destroyed. The
Yes, sir.
robots can stitch themselves again, they can
Yes.
repair themselves. So if you
Okay.
cut that android into two, they
Yes,
have
sir.
that technology where that android can stick again and
Stick
get up.
again.
So now Suraj Singhania and his army of androids are having a tough time on how to decimate them. So
Yes, sir.
this is where this lava and all that happens, and they are completely decimated.
Okay, okay, sir. That's really an amazing concept. And
Yeah,
sir,
the third part came out very nicely, and then I thought, this time I had enough of Pakistan bashing, so let's write because bashing Pakistan is the most easiest thing for a creative writer. Yeah. Because if you see,
yes, sir.
half the Hindi films are all about Pakistan bashing. So I thought I should write something very different than that, and I had huge respect for the Indian freedom fighters.
Yes, sir.
The brave souls like Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev,
Yes,
Rajguru, and many others.
yes, sir.
So I hit upon this idea: is what if in the fourth part? I thought I wanted to write something very different, because
Yes,
actually, if you see, the main villain is the British Raj. It is not the Pakistan. It is not India. It is because of them India and
yes, sir.
Pakistan became separate and are still fighting. So I
Yes,
thought,
sir.
why not I target the British Raj in that
Yes,
era and prevent the partition of India, so that India and Pakistan, so it becomes the United Territories of Hindustan or India, whatever that I've written, United Territories of India.
yes. And time travel to India's freedom struggle is a powerful concept. I agree. So,
Yeah.
what drew you to blend history with futuristic tech?
So I mean, I didn't get the question. Sorry.
And talking about time travel to India's freedom struggle is a powerful concept. So,
Hmm.
what drew you to blend history with futuristic tech?
See, it was but natural because the entire story of Arihant is purely science fiction.
Yes, sir.
And then the secondary subject in this particular part was history. So
Yes,
it
sir.
was inevitable that I had to blend technology with the past.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
and because automatically the Android army is more powerful than those archaic weapons that those British soldiers used to use during that time. So if
Yes,
you
sir.
see every battle that they go, they win,
Yes, sir.
hands down. So it's not like there's a tough struggle or anything. They just go down, and many of the times these androids they make fun of it. They say, "Okay, a piece of cake, there's nothing great." But then uh, I thought it was fun to you just imagine if you can get Rani Lakshmi Bai from that era and you actually look into her face to face. This
Yes,
is
sir.
someone I've read about in my history books
Yes,
all the years. And if you actually imagine if you actually see her face to face, what would your
yes,
reaction be? So I thought that whole thought was very exciting. So in this particular part, what happens is not only do they go in the past and help those guys whenever they are in a sticky spot, but if they're
yes,
fatally injured, not fatally, I'm saying if they're very badly injured, they bring that particular personality back to this age, which also gives
yes,
it a slight comic twist. Imagine
yes,
you bring Rani Lakshmi Bai in 2025, she'll say, "What the hell is this, man?" I mean, she'd look at all the latest gadgets and stuff, and she'll say, "What the hell is this?" So
yes,
and also gives a little room for a little bit of relief, comic relief. Not exactly a
Yes,
comic relief, light-hearted moments.
yes, sir.
Like when she's brought back and she's in that futuristic hospital within that Gen Next compound of Suraj Singhania. When she
Yes,
wakes up, she says, "Which kingdom I am in?" She actually asks, And she, when Suraj comes and meets her, she actually asks him, "Which kingdom do you belong from?" And when
oh,
Suraj actually breaks her the news, she's shell shocked. She doesn't know. Also, in this, so it is but natural because of the story. Uh,
yes,
Technology and the past history have been blended.
yes, sir.
It is natural. It's not that I had to think about it, because if you are taking a technological story, a science fiction, and you mix it with historical reminiscence, it's but obvious that it'll blend smoothly. It'll blend nicely and in a very unique way, because I have never heard any story like this.
Yes, sir, definitely. And sir, this story deals with patriotism and revenge, love and war. What thing do you feel anchors the book most strongly?
The most, see, we let us be very frank. We all have immense respect for our freedom fighters,
Yes,
various
sir.
freedom fighters who gave their lives for us. They
Yes, sir.
sacrificed everything so that we can live and breathe in
Yes,
liberty.
sir.
So I thought this core idea of helping them when they are stuck in a sticky spot. For example, the very first scenario of Arihant 4 is when Rani Lakshmibai bravely fights all the British soldiers, but then in the end she's cornered, which is a
Yes, sir.
fact. It's a fact. I mean, if you read that first 5 chapters, she's actually
Yes, sir.
cornered by Captain Heinege at one end and the two other majors at the other end. She's actually cornered.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I thought at that point of time, what if Aryan's army comes there and rescues her? So I feel it's a really very satisfying read for people, especially who are patriots, who love their
Yes,
country
sir.
and who love their freedom fighters. So I thought, but at the
Yes,
same
sir.
time, I did not want to undermine the importance of a freedom fighter, because at the end of the day, which is why there are dialogues in the book which very clearly, where Aryan very clearly says to them, Ki, you have to win this war. We are only here to assist you
Yes,
and
sir.
not to replace you. So Rani Lakshmibai, Bhagat Singh, or any of these people will not be replaced.
Yes, sir.
It will only pull you out from a sticky situation and let you continue your war with the British Raj.
Yes, sir.
So that way, because I had to be very careful, because I did not want to undermine the sacrifices made by these great freedom fighters.
Yes,
But it would be a great idea to even think, what if I can go back in time and rescue Bhagat Singh before he's hanged, so that he can continue his fight ahead, or
yes,
rescue
sir.
Sukhdev or Rajguru, or for that
Yes,
matter, Udham Singh,
yes, sir.
when he was hanged for killing the main perpetrator of the Governor General of Punjab, who ordered Dyer, who ordered the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. What if they could
Yes,
overturn the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? If you imagine it as a movie,
yes, sir.
the audiences will actually stand up and clap.
Yes,
Even the
sir.
multiplex audiences. I'm not saying only the front benchers and single screen guys. I'm saying even the multiplex guys will literally, if you imagine it as a movie, it's going to be a great thing. And there are some comical moments where they drag General Dyer from the Jallianwala Bagh and bring him back over here, and they hang him on an altar in a shooting range, and they actually shoot at him indiscriminately. But of course, they put a bulletproof vest over him, and he shits
Yes,
bricks. And that's
yes,
when the protagonists tell him, "Okay, now do you realize how you killed indiscriminately, shot so many innocent people at Jallianwala Bagh?" So, they make him realize.
yes, yes,
So it's a very satisfying read for somebody who loves India, and it's a very different story. See, I mean, once
yes,
again reiterate, it's a very different story. I've never read this kind of a story before, and I
yes,
always
sir.
strive to write stories. I may end up writing just 8 or 10 books in my entire life, but I will strive to see that each and every book of mine has a different storyline, which
Yes,
which you never heard of, or at the most rarely heard of.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. The scene you have explained is certainly a very impactful scene that has happened in our history, and it's really impossible to imagine even that scene. So
Correct.
let's move forward. You mentioned the story appeal to reader from age 13 to 70. How did you approach writing to appeal to such wide range that anybody can
See the
read this?
subject. See the subject itself is a noble subject, and
Yes, sir.
for somebody like 13, obviously I don't expect them to know the names by heart of people like of courageous souls like Bhagat Singh and uh, Gandhiji or any of these brave freedom fighters. But it will give them
Yes,
an idea in a very interesting way.
yes, sir.
Today's generation, I doubt they know anybody, the Indian freedom fighters. But through this book, if they read this book, they will be entertained. So it's not like it's boring. And I'm not giving a history class where I'm talking about the life of a particular freedom fighter and what happens and what all he goes through and all that. But they will be introduced to these courageous souls in a very interesting way.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I thought. And so that takes care of the younger generation. And for the older generation, obviously, there's a sense of nostalgia when I
Yes,
go back to that particular scene or scenes,
yes,
which actually happened. But in the end, I've reversed it. I've taken the scene as it is. I had to do a lot of research. What exactly happened? Where it happened? Who made the first move? How did it happen? The location, everything. So everything is as per history. Only thing in the end is I reverse it. So instead
yes,
of the
sir.
freedom fighter getting knocked down, the Britishers get knocked down.
Yes, sir.
Like there's one particular scene where that we all know that scene where uh, this famous freedom fighter Lala Lajpat Rai was lathi charged so
Yes,
much that
sir.
he actually died bleeding. So I've reversed that
Yes,
situation where Aryan just rips off that Saunders hand, the hand that tries to hit the lion of Punjab gets severed from its body. So
yes,
I've reversed it. So it's a real, even for the older generation, it will be, they are revisiting that scene, but then it's
yes,
towards the end, it's completely reversed in our favor. So
yes,
it gives them a great sense of excitement, thrill, and content, is what I
yes,
thought.
sir.
So, because of the nature of this particular storyline, I think it can appeal to everyone. Everyone.
Yes. And sir, what message do you want the readers to take away from your book series, Arihant?
See, message is such ki if you want to see, there are dime a dozen science fiction movies and books, but my science fiction stories are such that it is very much human as well in their subplots. So it's not very robotic in that sense, and very
Yes,
squeaky clean science fiction where you don't seem to understand what the hell is going on. So I keep my
yes,
science. There is enough technology in my films, but at the same time, I've written it in such a way that even a common man can relate to it and can understand it.
yes,
So I feel if readers would want to read a science fiction uh, story, uh,
yes,
which is based with technology, but at the same time, it has got all the emotions of a blockbuster.
yes,
So when they finish reading the books, they will have an immense sense of excitement and
yes,
satisfaction that they've read something different and
yes,
entertaining. You can still be different and not be entertaining, but this is different
yes,
and yet very entertaining.
yes. So, sir, is there any thing that I might have missed in this interview that you would like to add?
No, nothing of the sort. I mean, as I said, yeah, what I would like to add is one is, of course, the Aryan series, and then I have another franchise called the Flood of Blood series,
Yes,
which
sir.
is a story based in Goa and about these three
Yes, sir.
siblings who are
Yes,
detectives, and they have an agency called the Bloodhounds. So I've written the
yes,
first part of it. I've written the second part of it. Now these films are highly emotional, and very, very suspenseful. If you read the first part, which is called Noctambulism, Flood of Blood,
Yes, sir.
it is a very suspenseful story and based on the subject of homicidal noctambulism, which is actually in simple terms called sleepwalking murder.
Yes, sir.
There's a small book on Amazon by author C.J. Evans. He has cited 10 examples of sleepwalking murders that have happened. People have actually driven 20-25 miles to their in-laws' house, killed them, sat back in the car, and then woken up. When they see the hands on their blood, they think something is wrong. They don't know what they've done. They go to the nearest police station and they confess that I think I've done something wrong. And when the police investigate and find out that he has actually killed his in-laws while he was asleep. But the most interesting part is this guy gets evicted. Not evicted. This guy goes scot-free in the end. There is no court case on him. All these people have been acquitted. All these people have been acquitted. So it's a very interesting case. So I thought I should write this forms the basis for me to write. And nobody has written about sleepwalking murders. At least I don't know anybody in India. They've used this as a premise, where the antagonist uses this as an excuse to get acquitted from the court.
Yes, sir.
But there's no real case sleepwalking murder. So the first part came out nice. Then I thought of writing a sequel to a murder mystery, which is also a murder mystery.
Yes.
So, thankfully for me also, even that came out pretty nice. It was very emotional. In fact, I had tears in my eyes as I was writing some of the parts. So that was that emotional. And now I'm currently working on the third part of it.
Yes.
Which is called Flood of Blood 3 Retribution. So that's another franchise that I have, which is completely different from ARIHANT.
Yes. So it will be a great opportunity to more hear about that book as well, sir. And thank you so much, sir, for joining me in this interview session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.